The desert didn't make noise. It shimmered. At Depot Asher. That shimmer was broken by boots, shouting, and one voice louder than the rest. "Hold this for the boys." "Sweetheart." Sergeant Lockridge tossed a rifle at her like it was gym equipment. Not a $36 million prototype. Taryn Oaks caught it without flinching. Clipboard in one hand, rifle in the other. No reaction, no protest, just silence. She was the only woman on the trial team, the only one without firing clearance. To them, she was background logistics, not lethal. Behind her, the others laughed, one louder than the rest. She's here to make the program look inclusive, not effective. They didn't know who her father was. They didn't know she'd been lining up 800-yard shots at age 12. Didn't know that while other girls played with phones. She studied elevation maps and windbreak patterns. Didn't know her last name once echoed at Fort Laramie's sniper school, before she changed it to avoid the comparisons. Now she stood at range Delta 6 clipboard, tight to her chest, heat waves rising off the sand. The weapon was the HX-9 Hellspike, a next-gen precision rifle with terrain-reactive optics and digital override. Designed for range, built for war. But Taryn saw its flaw before the team even ran the numbers. She said nothing. Lockridge strutted to the line like a man in a recruiting ad. Targets from 1 to 3,000. "I'll handle the outer limits." He barked. He missed the first, then the second, by the third. Even the engineers were whispering, optic miscalibration. No, maybe heat distortion. Taryn already knew the answer. She watched the horizon, not the screen. The Hellspike's assist system was overcompensating. The auto-corrections were canceling each other out. She kept it to herself, until miss number 5. Lockridge turned, jaw tight, sweat on his brow. He shoved the rifle into her arms again. "Don't touch anything," he snapped. She didn't, but her eyes moved across the scope. 3 dials, wrong positions. Conflict between analog and digital modes. "What are you looking at?" "Clipboard." She met his eyes. Calm. Nothing. "Sergeant." He leaned closer. "You think you can do better?" She didn't answer. Didn't need to. But the moment cracked open anyway. She spoke just once. Quiet. Straight. "Manual calibration is canceling out the optics corrections. They're misaligned. You can't run both at once." The range went dead silent. No one laughed. No one spoke. The only sound was the wind shifting, soft like it was waiting for her next move. Captain Redden. "Sir, request permission for one shot." The heat stilled. Even the engineers froze mid-note. Sergeant Lockridge turned, half laughing. "Excuse me." Private Taryn Oaks didn't blink. 1 round. At target Delta 7. Redden stepped forward. "You're serious?" "Yes, sir. If I miss, I'll accept full accountability for the round." Lockridge scoffed. "This isn't the movies." Clipboard. But then Dr. Landry, systems lead, spoke up. "Sir, from a technical standpoint, another data point wouldn't hurt." Redden hesitated. They'd already called the trial a failure. What was one more round? He nodded once. 1 shot. "Oaks, impress me." A young tech handed her the Hellspike. It felt familiar, like it remembered her grip. She walked to the firing line. Didn't lie down immediately. Instead, she scanned the horizon. Eyes calm, breathing steady. Fingers dipped into the air. She read the heat. Watched the sand twist in small spirals across the range. Lockridge jeered. "You gonna shoot or sketch a painting?" She didn't answer. Instead, she flipped 2 switches, disabled the entire smart targeting suite. The text gasped. She shut it off. "She's flying blind." No one whispered. "She's flying human." Taryn dropped prone, elbows firm. 3 clicks left on elevation, 2 right on windage. Old school. A faint shimmer appeared on the far valley floor. 950 meters. A single metal plate the size of a license tag. She exhaled once. Squeezed. The shot cracked like bone on marble. 3 seconds passed like 3 lifetimes. Then impact. A soft plume of dust at Delta 7. The spotter's scope chirped. Target confirmed. Dr. Landry said. 2,950 meters. First round impact. Unassisted. No cheers. No applause. Just silence, thick and absolute. Taryn stood, cleared the rifle. Captain Redden approached slowly. How in the world? She answered plainly. Thermal spiral was climbing the basin. Your systems couldn't read the crosswinds between 1,400 and 1,800 feet. I shut it off. Behind them, comms crackled. Ravenhall range confirms impact at Delta 7. First shot. No second round logged. Lockridge said nothing. His arms dropped, mouth open. The tech crew gathered, but not with questions. With respect, she spoke softly. Where I'm from, if you wait for a scope to catch up to the wind, the elk's already gone. Redden stepped aside, phone at his ear. Yes, sir. Confirmed. No assist. It's remarkable. You'll want the footage by morning. The story tore through the base network. One shot, no tech. World record range. The name Oaks had left the clipboard and landed in every inbox at Fort Benning Command. 2 days later, Fort Benning, briefing room 4C. Taryn Oaks sat alone at the long table, flanked by senior brass she didn't recognize, until they started speaking. Private Oaks, a confirmed hit at 2,950 meters. No assist. First attempt, Lieutenant Commander Jarrett leaned forward. That's not luck. That's unprecedented. Taryn nodded once. Thank you. Sir. Jarrett shook his head. Not a compliment. Just a fact. Across from him, a woman tapped her pen on a file. Dr. Evelyn Rains, lead ballistic analyst for the Long Range Trials Division. We reviewed your scores, past and present. You've tested at the top percentile across 4 ranges. What happened at Asher isn't a fluke. It's a pattern. General Claiborne, quiet until now, looked up from his notes. Private, explain it. In your words. Taryn took a breath. The HX-9's optics are built for known variables, wind speed, barometric pressure, elevation, but they average conditions. They don't react to terrain-specific flow. She paused. In the Montana backcountry, my father called it wind rivers. They move fast, change fast. The system couldn't see them. I could. Claiborne watched her. And you shut the system off. Yes, sir. Manual override. Adjusted elevation and drift based on thermal patterning in the lower basin. A colonel spoke up from the side. You learned to do that where Taryn didn't hesitate. Russell Oaks, Marine Force Recon, Scout Sniper, Desert Storm. He trained me. The room stilled. Dr. Rains's eyes sharpened. I suspected as much. Claiborne raised a brow. You're his daughter. Yes, sir. I changed my name when I enlisted. Another pause. Then the door burst open. Sergeant Lockridge marched in, face flushed. Behind him, a nervous admin tried to stop him. Sir, apologies, he pushed past protocol. Let him speak, Claiborne said evenly. Lockridge stepped forward, voice tight. With respect, this review rewards direct insubordination. Private Oaks acted outside test parameters. She endangered an active trial. Dr. Rains spoke before anyone else could. She corrected your failed shots. With 1 round, that doesn't change protocol. Lockridge snapped. She's a supply clerk, not a sniper. She violated chain of command. Claiborne's voice dropped. Are you suggesting we ignore skill because of a title number, sir? I'm saying rules exist for a reason. Indeed they do, Claiborne said coldly. And barging into a classified review without clearance. That's not one of them. Lockridge froze. Doctor. Rains turned. You're upset she outshot every man on that line. Get over it. She got lucky. Jarrett finally spoke. She saw what the rifle couldn't. That's not luck. That's instinct. That's legacy. Another voice entered the room behind Lockridge. I gave her the clearance. It was Captain Redden. She requested 1 shot. I authorized it. And I stand by it. Lockridge turned, now surrounded. This isn't over, he muttered toward Taryn. You've made yourself a problem. General Claiborne stood. No, Sergeant. She made herself a precedent. He turned to the aide. Escort Lockridge to the inspector's office. We'll review his conduct in full. Silence returned as the door closed behind him. Claiborne sat again, calm, measured. That kind of confidence, backed by results, opens doors. He slid a sealed folder across the table. Do you know the Long Range Trials Division? Private Taryn blinked. Elite sniping school. Olympic tier shooters. They begin intake tomorrow. 3 open slots. Dr. Raines smiled. You just earned one. Claiborne nodded. Sometimes. One shot changes everything. The heat at Fort Benning hit like a brick wall. As Taryn Oaks stepped off the transport, a staff sergeant waited with a clipboard. Private Oaks, yes. Sergeant. Staff Sergeant Wilson. Welcome to the Long Range Trials Division. On the drive-in, he studied her through the mirror. That shot to the 950 yards. No assist. First round. True yes. Sergeant. He gave a slow nod. Just a heads up. You're walking into a den full of world-class egos. Most of them don't like their records broken by someone they've never heard of. She smiled faintly. I'm used to that. At the LRTD range tucked behind pine scrub and concrete, a dozen shooters watched her arrival in silence. Colonel Davis met her at the gate. Private Oaks. This is Major Peterson, Captain Grant. They oversee long-range evaluation. Terrence saluted crisply. Reporting as ordered. Sir. Grant didn't return the smile. Let's get to it. No tour, no small talk, just trial by fire. 2 hours later, she was prone on the gravel. Target 2, 20 yards. 5 shots. Conditions unpredictable crosswind. Opponent Sergeant Rowan Beck, reigning LRTD champion. He was built like a mountain. Calm eyes, thick jaw. Ladies first, he said, with half a smirk. Taryn ignored him. Adjusted for wind. Trigger disciplined tight. 5 shots. Tight grouping. Sub 2-inch spread. Beck stepped up. 4 shots perfect. 5th caught in a late gust. Drifted an inch right. Major Peterson looked up from his scope. Private Oaks wins the round. A ripple moved through the range. Beck turned to her. You saw that gust coming 30 seconds early. Trees on the east side started bending. I've seen that cycle before. He stared. Who taught you? My father. Russell Oaks. His face shifted. Recognition? Fallujah. Hotel shot. She nodded. Beck stepped forward and offered his hand. I didn't put it together till now. You're his legacy. Taryn took it. Firm, silent, no grin, just the weight of acknowledgement. That night, Colonel Davis gathered the top 5 shooters in the hangar. One last trial. Full gear. Sprint 800 meters. 1 shot. Target at 20 yards. Time limit 30 seconds from prone. Only one of you leaves with a confirmed slot on our black tier candidate list, Davis said. Earn it. Taryn's breath steadied. Beside her, Beck leaned in. They designed this one for you. 1 shot Oaks. She didn't reply. The run was brutal. Vest heavy. Boots sinking into soft dust. She dropped to prone with 28 seconds left. Wind shifted. She felt it in her ribs before it hit her cheek. 1 breath. Squeeze. Steel rang from the target plate. Colonel Davis walked forward with his hand out. Specialist Oaks. Promotion confirmed. Even Beck clapped. 2 days later, briefing room 9. Davis sat across from her, this time with 2 men in dark suits. Colonel Harlan, Major Cross, Joint Special Operations Command. He said, they've been watching your record. Harlan placed a folder on the table. Operation Codename Black Halo. Your mission. If accepted, eliminate arms trafficker Anton Drevik. Location Mountain Range. Target window less than 20 minutes. Range estimated 2,185 yards. Terrain high wind. Multi-peak funnel. No spotters. No second chances. Davis added. This isn't AMU anymore. You're being tapped for Task Force Sable Viper. Full black clearance. 1 of 3. Taryn didn't hesitate. When do I leave tonight? And just like that, the girl they mocked with a clipboard was now the weapon they'd send in when no one else could make the shot. The ridge was brutal, No roads, no signal, just granite, silence, and the hum of wind between peaks. Task Force Sable Viper had eyes on the compound. 6 operators, 1 chance. Anton Drevik, arms trafficker. Verified present, behind bulletproof glass, except for one seam at the center. Master Sergeant Wheeler, the unit's lead sniper. Glanced sideways. "You sure you're ready for this?" Taryn Oaks nodded. "My father trained me for worse. Wind, ice, no gloves. Missed the shot. We didn't eat." He smirked. "Guess we eat today." Then, they checked wind cycles. 3-peak funnel. Thermals shifting every 45 seconds. Computers failed here. Only instinct remained. Taryn scoped in. Target 2nd floor. Frosted glass. Open seam. Distance 285 yards. Wheeler whispered. 12 knots. Shifting coming in. Now. She read the trees. Not the leaves. The trunks. Bowed slightly east. Then stilled. That was the window. One breath. Squeeze. Follow through. The rifle kicked. The round vanished across the peaks. Seconds passed like thunder rolling from a far war. Then impact. Drevik collapsed behind the glass. Clean hit. Wheeler breathed. Through the seam. Almost 3 clicks out. He turned to her. Not with admiration. Not even surprise. With awe. That wasn't marksmanship. That was art. 15 minutes later, Sable Viper was airborne. No photos. No briefings. No medals. Only silence. 3 days later, Fort Benning. Taryn sat once more across from Colonel Davis. But this time, Colonel Harlan was there too, folder in hand. Formal invitation. Harlan said, "Full integration with Task Force Sable Viper. Black clearance. Elite assignments only." She opened it. Inside, not just rank, but recognition of what she'd done, of who she was. Davis smiled. "Congratulations, Sergeant Oaks." 1 year later, Fort Bragg. The classroom fell silent as she ended her lecture on atmospheric layering. 30 elite snipers. None of them spoke until one Navy SEAL in the back raised a brow. "That kind of wind reading, how do you see that without tech?" She smiled gently. "You don't see the heat. You see how the heat changes the world around it." A knock at the door. General Mitchell stepped in. To the room 3 missions this year deemed impossible. She completed all 3. Her methods are now doctrine. The class stood in silent respect. After the briefing, Mitchell pulled her aside. The president noticed. He said, "So did our allies. You'll lead the international sniper team next month." He paused. "Also, the head instructor at Advanced Sniper School is retiring. You're at the top of the list." Taryn said nothing. Mitchell chuckled. "Fine. We'll promote you anyway." Captain Oaks has a good ring to it. Then his aide approached. "Sir, urgent call. CENTCOM. Situation developing." Mitchell turned. "Change of plans. We need you airborne in 60. As she packed, a headline lit her screen. Instructor, demoted after pattern of discrimination. Lockridge, investigated. Demoted. Application denied. Justice, not loud. Just done. Weeks later, a young private approached her after a pinning ceremony. "You're the reason I enlisted." "Ma'am." Taryn looked her in the eye. "Then remember this," she repeated her father's words. "The only limits that matter are the ones you accept." The girl nodded, tears shining. That night, beneath the stars, Taryn opened a small wooden box. Inside, a dog tag and a faded photo. 2 rifles, 2 smiles. 1 father, 1 daughter. "We did it. Dad." We showed them all. And somewhere, far out across another mountain range, another impossible shot waited, and the legend of Taryn Oaks was already taking aim.